can't remember how to draw Britain. Kind of something like that. No, it's nothing like that. It's kind of like, okay, this bit smaller. And something like that. This is this. This is this. And then we have a kind of island here, okay, next to it. So this is called the British Isles. Okay, so Isles. The British Isles is all of the islands that make up this kind of area. So this geographic area is called the British Isles. And there's 4 countries. Which country is this? Which country? Zoe will know. Which country is this? There is a border. Remember, we have a border. A border is what separates your countries from another one. You might have different characteristics of your culture is different. And you say, hey, we're different from those groups of people. The characteristics of our music and entertainment, our art forms, our food, the way we dress, all of these are slightly different. So we start creating separation, division. We have a border here, and we have a border here. And we also have a border here. And this is has anybody heard of Europe? The European Union. Britain are leaving the European Union. And there's a lot of dispute about this border here. This border is causing a lot of problems at the moment. For many reasons. But this is, who can tell me this country? Remember, Britain, the British Isles, the British Isles is all of the islands in this area, this kind of certain area. This is kind of quite a big island. We are maybe 600 miles. Okay, so if you say Taiwan is 600 miles in length, 200 miles, I think Taiwan is 200 miles. And Britain is 600, I think, from here to here. Straight line. 600. From here to here is 800. Okay. So from here to here, I think Britain is as big as Taiwan from here to here. From here to here, we are as long as Taiwan, the length. So from here to here. And this is London. Okay, this is London. That's the River Thames. Okay, so the River Thames. And this is where our capital is. And this is where I'm originally from, this area, London. This is called one of the home counties, called Essex. Well, here. I'm from here. And then we moved up to here. We moved to this area here. So I live near Wall's End. This is a wall that goes across the country that was meant to keep out the other culture. Okay, the culture that we couldn't trust because they were always very annoying. Okay, they were annoying. They would steal and move around and not respect people's private property. So what country is this, Zoe? Yeah, this is Scotland. And I think, where is Edinburgh? Edinburgh is about here. Edinburgh. Here? No, this is Glasgow. Yeah, Glasgow is on the west coast. United Kingdom have Scotland have 2 major cities. Okay, Glasgow and Edinburgh. And there's an M8. This is the road that connects them, I think, is the M8, the motorway 8. So this is Glasgow. This is very culturally rich. And this is Edinburgh, which is, again, more internationally known for being the capital of Scotland. And this is where I think Philip is from. This is where he comes from. I come from here. So I've got a kind of lot in common with Richard in terms of our humour, our understanding of the world, our outlook on reality. Mine will be similar to Philip's rather than similar to someone from London, just because of proximity, because how close we are together. And what country is this? Who knows what country this is? Remember, we are 4 countries. We're not just one country. That's why we're called United. Okay, so we are a multi-faith community. We are united. So we call it the United. Why do we call it the UK? The United Kingdom. Okay? The United Kingdoms. So each of those kingdoms have different rules of worship, different codes of dress, different manners. Remember Kingsman? He has a different manner. from maybe someone who is Scottish. They have a different perspective. So we have 4 different types of people who are all inhabiting some different form of community, which means they have different cultures, customs, characteristics that you would notice. Okay? We have different flags. We have different national anthems. So when we sing to our country, we have different national anthems. We have different heroes. Okay? We have different law systems with respect to Scotland. But we are united in terms that we deal with the rest of the world united. Okay? So when we are dealing with other countries, we deal our trade and our foreign relations with Taiwan will be all of those kingdoms together. Okay? We can't just deal with Taiwanese English. Your English businesses can, but in general our policies will need to be accepted by all of those countries when we deal in foreign affairs, okay, foreign relations with other countries. So we have Scotland, we have England, and this is where most of the people live. This is 50 million, 55 million, maybe 3 times as many as live in Taiwan. But we have more area than you. We have more area. So basically, this area is inhabited by most of the people. We have maybe 3 or 4 million in Wales. This is Wales. Okay, this is another language. This is called Welsh language. They have English as well as Welsh. Welsh is another official language of the United Kingdom. And Scotland also have an official language which is Gaelic, which is Irish, which is from the island of Ireland. Okay? So the tribe, the group who live here, have a different language called Gaelic. So the 3 dominant languages in our country are English. We have kind of Gaelic speaking Scots people, Gaelic speaking. And the Gaelic understanding came from Ireland because there used to be a kingdom from here to here, this area. This used to be a kingdom. And these people from here merged with these people from here, and they created the Scottish people. Okay, so these 2 tribes came together from here and from here, and they created the Scots, which we now know as Scotland. Okay, so this is a kind of cultural history and a bit history, and how these people came into having noticeable characteristics. So if you go to this part of Scotland, it's called the Highlands, and it's slightly different in culture from the Lowlands. So Scotland is separated into Highland, just really meaning high. Very beautiful here. It's very beautiful. Lots of lochs. So you heard the Loch Ness Monster? That's where he will live. Loch. It's kind of an inlet. Lovely, beautiful kind of a river, and then it kind of, opens up into these just like Sun Moon Lake. We have thousands of those in the Highlands. Okay? So like, say 1,000 Sun Moon Lakes. We have that on this side of the country. Because there's all inlets and lochs. So Scotland and the Highlands is well known for this, very beautiful. And there's a difference between the Scots of the Highland and the Scots of the Lowland, okay? So these Scots from the Lowland have been culturally assimilated with the English more than the Scots from the western coast. So you have a slight difference. The Scots from the western coast will understand themselves as closer to Ireland, the island of Ireland. The Scots from the lowland will have more in common with people from kind of Northumbria and England up to a point. Scottish people and English people don't really like each other. They don't accept each other. They don't adopt each other's cultures, okay? So adopt. So first, can I ask you, I asked you before, we have a multi-faith now community. We have lots of religions being practiced within our country. What are the official religions of Taiwan? Can you tell me? What do you practice here? What kind of religions do you practice in Taiwan? A lot of people in the United Kingdom now are atheists, okay? I hope I spelled that right. Atheist. It means they have no religion. But we have many religions also. And our official religion is, can anybody guess?
Christian.
Yeah, Christianity. So you're in a Catholic church, okay? You are in a Catholic church, Catholic school. The school is oriented around Christianity and Catholic principles. That's why you're celebrating Christmas. Okay? And generally, this group here are Catholics. Catholic. Okay? So these groups here follow Catholicism, Catholics. So this is, and these groups here generally might be more Protestant. So there's two denominations of Christianity that are dominant in England: Catholicism and Christianity. Okay, Catholicism and Christianity. And Glasgow, which is the other side of Scotland here, Glasgow is well known because it has two famous football teams. Okay, Glasgow Celtic and Glasgow Rangers. And these football teams are divided along sectarian lines. Sectarian. Okay, this is part of Scottish culture. Sectarian. Which means the divisions that separate them are usually based on religion, how you follow a certain religion. So I think these kind of roots run deep in our community. So even though we're united, the United Kingdom, 4 kingdoms united, each of these kingdoms have their own noticeable cultural characteristics. And hopefully this is what Philip will share with you today. The differences between Irish culture, Scottish culture, British culture together, Welsh culture. So can anybody in here tell me the differences between Taiwanese and Chinese? What's the differences between Taiwanese and Chinese? Can you tell me? So I told you some differences about British culture, the differences in the communities. We have noticeable characteristics, okay? We're obviously 4 different countries. We do not really like each other in terms of, we think that each culture is better than the other. Okay, English culture is best. No, Welsh culture is best. No, Scottish culture is best. No, Irish culture is best. And remember, the Irish culture is only a small part of Ireland. The other part is called the Republic. You're a republic. This is a republic. Why is it a republic, Linda? Do we know?
Yes, our Canada is a republic.
Uh-huh. And why is Ireland a republic? 100 years ago, it didn't want to be a part of these 3 countries. It said, we don't want to be a part of you. You're too dominant. You keep telling us what to do, how to educate ourselves, what to believe in, what to practice. You're different from us. We're not accepting your governance. So they had a kind of war with us. They had a war. They said, right, we're separating from you. Okay. So they pulled away, and now they are their own country. The Republic of Ireland is this part. Okay. So just this little corner part at the top, that's called Northern Ireland, the north of Ireland. And that is part of the United Kingdom, the 4 kingdoms united. And when you see the Union Jack, do you know what the Union Jack is? The Union Jack, our flag. What is Taiwanese flag? What's the Taiwanese flag? What does it symbolize? So the British flag is the 3 different flags mixed together. Do we have a picture of the Union Jack? This is the 3 countries together, okay? An image of the Union Jack. You will all know what it is, okay? The Union Jack is a kind of famous, iconic design. It represents those 4 countries. So this is the Union Jack. Okay, so that's the Union Jack. Remember, this is the flag of England. So I want to ask you some questions about what your differences are between Taiwanese and Chinese culture. Can you tell me the differences? Do you have a different national flag? Do you have a different national flower? Do you have a different national animal? Because remember, all of our countries have different animals as well that we represent who we are. What is the English animal? Can anybody tell me?
Lion.
The lion. So we pride ourselves on being strength, proud, noble, courageous. We're quiet, but when we're called into action, we will stand up. What do you think the flag? What is the animal of Scotland? So this is the English flag, a red cross on a white background. This is the Scottish flag. Okay, so this is a kind of, I can't remember what it's called, the tricolor, not the tricolor. It's kind of like that on the back of a blue background. And we both have different patron saints. What is the patron saint of Scotland? Saint Patrick. No, not Saint Patrick. Saint Andrew. Saint Andrew. So all the kings and queens from the UK usually go to St Andrews, the University of St Andrews, which is all the way up here in Aberdeen. Okay, St Andrews is in Aberdeen. But the patron saint of Scotland is St Andrews. This is Scotland, look. And this is England, the Kingdom of England, and Wales is included in this. So we just include Wales in this. We shouldn't, because Welsh have their own identity as well. And then we finally have one more flag. So there's your first Union Jack. Okay, that's your Union Jack. You will know it. You'll see it on your helmets here. So that's your Union Jack. That's two flags together. That's two kingdoms together. We become Great Britain. So if you ever know, Great Britain is the mixture of those two flags. One king. After Queen Elizabeth, we had no male heirs. Remember, in your country as well, you're very traditional. The son is the person who's going to claim all the fortune that the father made. Okay, not the girls, the son. So we had no male heirs from Queen Elizabeth, so we had to take the King of Scotland. Remember, they were separate kingdoms. We asked him, would you want to be the King of England? So King James VI, number 6 of Scotland, he was the 6th king called James, became King James the first of England. That's why it's confusing. King James the First of England is the same as King James the Sixth of Scotland. He ruled over both these countries. Okay, so this is the flag that you will see on your jackets. Sometimes you have it on your jackets, etc. And we came together 300 years ago and we formed this union under the king. Okay, the king was the king of Great Britain, not just England and Scotland. He unified those two countries to be more powerful. And then I think we take Ireland. So there's the Kingdom of Ireland, now being merged into the kingdoms of Great Britain. So this is in 1803, 200 years ago. We annexed, we said, yes, come in with us. We're doing business, we're doing trade, be a part of our tribe. We're getting stronger, and we're moving around the world, and we're showing people our influence. So this separate kingdom wanted, maybe it didn't want to be, but it came in line with the other two kingdoms. So this is now your Union Jack. So that's your Union Jack. So these are the three countries combined with their three individual flags that represent each of those characteristics of those nations. Our patron saint is St. George, St. Patrick and St. Andrew. So the flags are kind of homages to those patron saints. Remember, we're a Christian nation. Or we were. Okay? We were a Christian nation. So we have many differences between kind of England and Scotland and Ireland. Okay? And Wales. Who can tell me the national flag of Wales? The national flag. Very similar to Chinese culture. Think about what animal represents your country? Is it the snake, the serpent, the dragon?
The dragon.
Yeah, so Wales also is the dragon.
Yes.
The Welsh flag is a dragon, a red dragon.
No.
Yes? Or the Welsh flag. The Welsh are pagans. Okay? You're going to show me your flag? Is this Chinese flag? And what does it symbolize, Linda? What does that flag symbolize? This is Chinese flag? Mm. And what do the 5 stars represent? Do they represent something?
Yes, this represents our government, this represents our people, and we live together and peaceful. Yes.
And is one bigger than the other? Is this the biggest? Or are they small? Or are they all the same size?
Yes. This is like the blood to want to have beautiful and hopeful.
The blood.
Yes.
Ah, so it
Yes.
says rebirth.
Yes.
Some kind of rebirth.
Yes. Yes. Our China and Taiwan have the same history.
Mm.
We both have 5,000 history,
Mhm.
and we have the same ancestor.
Mhm.
Our the son of Yasang.
Mm. Okay, so you have similar ancestry, a similar heritage.
We have the same hobbies, and we have the same
So there's many similarities between your two cultures.
Our country flowers.
So you have, what is it, the blossom?
Yes.
Is it blossom, your flower? What is your national flower? Taiwan. Is it this? Blossom. What is Taiwan's national flower?
No, don't have the particular flower.
But does Taiwan?
Yes, we would have some
Differences.
common. Yes, common is like this flower. Chinese name is mudan. Do you know?
Not. And not a lotus?
Yes, this is very big and
Is this called lotus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we both like dragon.
You both like dragon?
Yes.
Both Taiwan and Chinese?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. How the same face.
What does it represent, the dragon?
Dragon? Yes, dragon not a genuine animal. It's our imagination.
So it represents your imagination, the dragon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
The dragon includes fish, and bird, and tiger.
Okay.
So many animals
Can come from the dragon, so many animals. Okay, thank you very much, Linda.
Teacher, do you like catfish or vegan? Yes.
I will tell you next time. Okay. Okay. So do we have differences? Linda says there's a lot of similarities between China and Taiwan, but what are the subtle differences? What about your traditional dress? Do we have similar traditional dress? Do you have the similar colour? What is the national flower of England? Vincent? National flower of England. What is the national flower? I think maybe the blossom is Taiwanese. Okay. And we also, what is your national animal? Do you have an animal? Ours is the tiger, the lion, sorry. What is Scotland? Scotland's is, who's heard of a unicorn? Who's heard of a unicorn? Maybe not, but maybe Taiwan is changing.
The difference of the climate. Yes, this is too hot, and the mainland is colder. Yes.
So there's some slight differences now.
So they are going to have some different flowers.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Flower is Chinese name. I think you don't know.
No, I don't know the Chinese name.
Yes.
2 seconds. Okay, so this is kind of I don't know if we have it here. I'm just trying to make you aware of some kind of differences. Where are they? Not the Union Jack. I'm looking for the. Remember, there's a kind of shared history between our cultures, just like you have with China, but there's also a kind of history in which we want to remain independent and separate from one another. This would be another one. This would be representing the kind of two animals of the United Kingdom, the Great Britain. So not the United Kingdom, because that would include Northern Ireland. So this would be just Great Britain. And we have here is the lion, okay, and here we have Scotland. And as you can see here, there's a chain. There's a chain on the unicorn's neck, the chain. And that means that the lion doesn't have the chain. So the lion is stronger than the unicorn. Okay, so the lion is the strength. The unicorn is the Scottish national animal, but they are chained. They are chained to England. Okay, they are not allowed to leave. England is the power. Okay, and this is kind of represented in the images that we tell ourselves. So in symbolism, and the flag of Wales, I'll show you the flag of Wales. You might be more in tune. It might be more in your understanding of your images. Our other country is Wales. So this is the flag of Wales. So this is the kind of Welsh flag. So you have a green and white background, and then you have the kind of dragon, okay? And this is a kind of the first British king. First British king, this was his flag. When he went into war, this was his flag. And he was from Wales, okay? And he had this big fight 500 years ago, and he became the first king of England. We had French kings on our throne for 300 years. So there was French kings who came across to England, and they annexed England into their governance. But then the Welsh king defeated the last of the remaining French kings on our soil. And this was the flag that he went into battle with. And he was called Tudor, Henry Tudor's family, okay? So the Tudors are the very famous royal family from England, and you will know the most famous one, Henry VIII, because he had 6 wives. So that's his family crest, okay? So when he went into battle, this is the crest he carried, and he said, hey, I am fighting for the true right of Britain, this nation, Britons, okay? The Britons are the original inhabitants of the country, and finally they claimed the island back from the invaders. And the Welsh flag was always symbolic of claiming the island back for themselves. Okay? They never give it up, this idea of getting the island back. And this is the flag they use. So the Welsh flag is pagan or Celtic culture. The culture is different. They don't believe in Christianity, they believe in an afterworld. Okay? They believe in a world beyond heaven and hell. They believe in this kind of cycle, almost like karma. Okay, there's a kind of spiritual world to have. Okay, so I've told you some differences between the countries in my area where I'm from. I want you to tell me some differences between China and Taiwan. Some differences, okay? Maybe your food, maybe your entertainment, maybe your flags, maybe your traditional dress. I know you have a common ancestry, so do we. We have been together for a long time now, but we still are different in many ways. We have different foods, different dishes, okay? So when we have a plate of food, we will celebrate the food in a different way. We will have maybe ingredients which are only appropriate for that country. So one of the dishes in Scotland, maybe you can tell me about food. Okay, one of the dishes in Scotland is haggis. Who knows what haggis is? So you have haggis, potatoes, and turnip. Okay, so those 3 ingredients make up a dish which is specific to Scotland. Okay, it's specific to their culture. And haggis is a food that's traditionally associated not with England, not with Ireland, not with Wales, but with Scotland. And on the 25th of January, you will have a haggis dish, okay? Haggis dish, okay? And you will be celebrating almost kind of like the Scottish New Year, okay? So they have a different understanding of how they should celebrate on the different days that they celebrate on. So we have haggis, which is the inside of a sheep's stomach. So they take the sheep's stomach out, they put kind of mince, lamb, spices, what else do they put inside? Onions, oats. They also put porridge. They put oats inside. And then they have it with turnips. And turnips are usually called, in Scotland, they call them neeps. So neeps are called turnips. So again, they have different dialect. They say turnips, I say turnip, they say neep. So there's a difference in language. The dialect has slightly changed. It is the English language, but the dialect has changed many of the words, okay, from that specific region. We can still communicate because remember, English is a stress language, so we focus on the stress, so we pick up the key words that we need to communicate with each other. So again, these are kind of slight differences between Scottish. I'm using the first union, Scotland and Great Britain. I'm not talking about Wales at the moment. We worship different symbols. We worship St. George, the patron saint of England, and he killed the dragon. St. George killed the dragon, okay? So he kills the dragon, and the Welsh symbolize or represent or worship the dragon. To us, the dragon is part of a cult, something superstitious, something we don't want in our lives. It's like the snake. The snake bit the heel, in the old Bible, he's going to be your enemy. The snake, the serpent, is not our friend, it's our foe. Okay? So we have a white dragon. If we have dragon, it's got to be white. It's got to be cleansed, pure. Whiteness is considered pureness. So we cleanse it of all of its kind of impurities, and we make it into a good dragon. We don't want the red dragon. It symbolizes blood, death, and kind of an afterworld, paganism. Okay, they don't believe in one God, they believe in multiple gods. We think that's irreligious, superstitious. Okay? We rationalized our religion. We turned it into one God. We had many gods. It's not logical, we said. We just follow one God. Okay? It's too many gods. So we kind of got enlightened. We became enlightened, away from superstition, having a kind of... We don't go to the church for every time our son has a kind of test in school. If we want our son or daughter to get a kind of good job, we don't go and worship. We think that's superstitious. Okay? We just pray for the big things. We don't go for every small thing in our life. We don't believe in fortune, not in that way, not as we do here. We don't have that kind of understanding. Okay, something important, I better go and worship and offer food. We only do it for big symbolic events. We don't have it for the small kind of events in our lives. That is left up to you. You have free will. Free will means you create your own destiny. You create your own path. You can't keep asking a higher power to help you. Okay? You only get one life in my country. You don't come back. So you've got to make the best of the one life you're given. You can interpret that any way you want. Some people just means that they have fun. They work and then they just go and have fun. Some people think, I've got to be very good in this one life that I'm given. But many countries have this idea of afterlife. They can come back. They can be reincarnated. We don't have that in our understanding. So maybe that's one reason why we work very hard. We only have one life to be better. Okay? We only have one life to change from being bad into being better. Again, you can talk about different aspects of your culture today. You can tell me something about the food, something about the religion. Is it Buddhism here? I think you have quite a strong following of Buddhism in Taiwan. But you do have other religions. Remember, there's a difference between Catholicism and Protestantism in the United Kingdom. Two branches of the same tree. Both Christians, but they worship separately. They worship differently. They believe in, if I go to a Catholic church, I will have to take the blood of God. I will have to drink wine. And I'll have to take the bread into my mouth and kneel before the priest. If you go into a Protestant church, they don't believe in that. They don't believe in communion. They don't believe that the wine is transformed into the blood of Christ. They don't believe that the bread is transubstantiated into the body of Jesus Christ. Where if you're a Catholic, you will believe that's what actually happens as you stand in front of the priest and he gives you the wine to drink and the bread on your tongue. It's a kind of small disc and he puts it in your mouth. Protestants will not do that. They're kind of, oh, we don't do that. They're both Christian, but they religious worship differently. So I want you to tell me some differences between Taiwanese and we have someone from China, so we can look at some of the differences and what you think the differences are. Okay, subtle differences. Nothing offensive, okay? Nothing, you know, just something more about your cuisine, your music, your art, your entertainment, your burial practices, your styles of living, your kind of whole way of life. Culture is the noticeable characteristic. So if you went to Japan, you could notice all of the differences between their group and your group. The way they dress, the colours that they choose, the way they eat, maybe the way that they keep their environments very tidy. Everybody always tells me Japan is very tidy, very ordered, very clean. Okay? So you can tell me some subtle differences between Taiwanese and or even Japanese culture. You can bring in another third culture if you would like. So tell me some of the difference between Taiwanese culture, Japanese culture, and Chinese culture. Okay? And tell me some similarities as well. But we're usually made up of differences. Okay? We're usually made up of differences, but we can trace a common ancestry back to some of these roots. But we're diverging off into our own kind of separate kind of understandings of how we communicate, how we live. Okay, so we will do that for the second part of the lesson. You can tell me some of the small differences, subtle differences between what you know between Taiwanese and Chinese, and also maybe you can also talk about the differences between yourselves and Japanese culture. Okay? It can be anything. It can be something very small, or it can be something that you've noticed. It could be your national anthem. You know, do you have a national anthem? Yes, we have a national anthem, we have a national flower, we have a national flag. We have also different communities within our community. We have different cultures within our larger British culture. We have 4 other cultures. Well, we have 4 nations, but we have definitely 2 very strong cultures. We have Celtic, okay, which is kind of almost kind of the Celtic speaking people will follow kind of their art styles, their music styles, how they bury their dead, how they worship their gods. And then we also have something called the Anglo-Saxon culture. This is even how you kind of farm, how you create the land, how you kind of create the crops, the things that you eat, how you change the landscape according to your preferences. Okay, so in the United Kingdom we generally have Anglo-Saxon culture and Celtic culture. And the Celtic culture are made up of possibly 3 tribes. Okay? So there's 3 different tribes within that culture that make up 3 different groups. So those 3 groups are Scotland, Ireland, let's just say Ireland, okay, Ireland and Wales. So those 3 groups are all Celtic in origin. It means Celtic means the way their culture interacts is heavily influenced by this group, but we're using the kind of language of this people who kind of associated and appropriated the styles of living with this culture. The Anglo-Saxons is the English. Okay, so the English. As you can see, the name comes from Angle, the Angle tribe that came across. And they became dominant. Okay, so the Angles became the dominant group, and they then morphed into this kingdom called England. And this English group eventually dominated those 3 groups. But those 3 groups never disappeared. We created a union. We created that act of union to bring them together. So they're the 2 main cultures, and we have many different styles of living, behaving, etc. Even socializing, we do it differently. Very small differences. Okay? And the way our perspective on our outlook on our environment is also very different. So after the break, can you just work in groups? Just go in groups. And I want you to come out and share something about your culture, okay? Something about Taiwanese culture. What it is, how you can recognize it from other cultures. How is it different from Chinese culture? How is it different from Japanese culture? And also, how is it different from maybe Korean, South Korean? Okay, because they're the kind of 4 big nations in this area, aren't they? There's China, Japan, and South Korea are kind of leading the kind of world in terms of their cultural prestige, their production, and kind of also economically they're very strong as well. So if you're strong economically, you're going to be influential on the world stage, okay? Because other people will kind of gravitate towards you because you're being successful, and everybody wants to be successful, I suppose. So okay, we don't have Philip, so this is why I'm filling in. I never really prepared anything. I think Philip was going to come and give a culture talk for you, okay? So I'm not sure why he's not here. Maybe he just forgot, or maybe he's running late. Okay, so today would have been a culture talk. I would have preferred to get on with our piano, our lesson on the piano, because we have many more presentations. I could have used this time better, actually. But we have to stick with culture talk today. So now it's up to you. Okay, so form your groups. And I want you to come out, and I want you to really think of some of the differences between your cultures. Okay? So the styles of dress, the things they eat, and how you are subtly either moving apart, or you still see all of the major connections between yourselves. Okay? So we'll just go with that. We take a break for 10 minutes, find groups of 4 or 5, and then we're going to kind of talk about this for possibly the next 35 minutes, and we'll call the lesson kind of finished a bit earlier than usual, because this is not really what you should be getting. Okay? You should be getting a different teacher with a kind of different perspective who gives you some more awareness of what he has prepared for. Okay? So I will still take a roll call, so I'm going to pass this around. Find your groups, and you're going to tell me some subtle differences between Taiwanese and Chinese culture. Okay? Some little differences that you can tell me to share with me as a foreigner. Okay? And also, can you also tell me something? In Britain, we have Sunday dinner, just before we finish. I want you to tell me, remember, we have some special occasions, so we have Sunday dinner. Okay? And we usually have that on a Sunday, okay? And on a Sunday dinner, remember, we have one meat and two vegetables, okay? One meat, two veg. So no matter where you go in England, on a Sunday, a lot of people will be eating Sunday dinner. And they will have one meat, which is either pork, beef, or chicken, or lamb. Okay? So they're the four meats that we usually eat: pork, beef, chicken, or lamb. Pork is the least popular. I think chicken and beef will be the most popular, and lamb every now and again. Okay? So on every area in Britain, England, we will have one meat on our plate, and we will have two vegetables. We could have broccoli, turnip, sprouts, or carrots, but we'll only have two. Okay, that's your staple, that's your main ingredients on that dish. And then whatever else happens on that dish, whatever else is added, is specific to the region. Okay? Specific to the region. So I also want you to tell me, do you have anything special? What do you have for breakfast? What do you have for lunch? And what do you have for your main meal? Okay? So tell me something about what you eat. Might tell you something about, again, your culture. So in my culture, we always have one meat and two veg. And then you can do some add-ons. Okay? We can add different ingredients region by region. So that's kind of the difference between Taiwan and Kaohsiung. Kaohsiung and Taipei. Okay? So differences. And we can be different in the north, and different in Yorkshire, different in the northeast, from the difference from Manchester to Birmingham. We have differences, but we all have one meat, two veg, and we will add slightly different things to that meal. And the special day that we have it on is Sunday. So I want you to tell me what you have for your breakfast, what do you have for your lunch, and what do you have for your main meal. Okay? And also, do you have something special to eat on a specific day? Okay? Do you have something special on a specific period? Can you tell me what it is that you have, okay, about what you eat? And I choose that because you can all talk about food very easily. So after the break, you need to find groups of four. Okay, you need to find groups of four. And you need to go together and work in a group. Okay? And I want you to tell me some of the differences between Taiwan and China is what I'm really looking at. Some of the differences. Remember, it could be music, it could be the instruments that you're playing, it could be your perspective on life, it could be your, what else could it be? It could be your religion, your styles of worship, how you bury your dead, okay? Is there a certain difference in how you bury your, how you commemorate people? Your kind of monuments, your statues, who are your heroes? It's kind of all of these things that change you, make you different from your other group. So we have Sunday dinner, so I want you to talk about differences between Taiwan, okay, and also what you have for breakfast, lunch, let's just say your main meal. And also, do you have something on a special day, okay, regular, or just a special occasion? Okay? So let's just say a special occasion, special oak. Tell me what you have on a special occasion. Do you still have traditional food in Taiwan? Remember, if you go to a traditional household, you have many dishes. What will be the dish that's always prepared for you? One of the foods will be rice. In Britain, it won't be rice. It will be, Vincent, will it be in Britain? We don't have rice, we have not noodles. We don't have rice, we have, yeah, potato. Okay, so in Britain, that is our staple food. So if everything crashed around the world, this is what we'd be eating. If everything had crashed around the world for Taiwan, you'd be eating rice. Okay, so they're the differences. That's culture. That's the differences. How we eat, the things that we can even be intolerant towards. Okay, we become accustomed to our habits. Okay, so we even have habits, and those characteristics make us unique as a group. You become unique as a group. So again, answer these questions. What you have for breakfast, anything special? What you have for lunch? What you have for a main meal? What you have for a special occasion? Question 2 and question 1. Differences between Taiwan and China. Okay, some subtle differences between your cultures. And it can be any of the things that we've mentioned. So do some kind of quick research, maybe on the internet. And sign the roll call. Okay. So we will leave it at that. Take a 10-minute break, okay? And I apologize for my teacher not turning up today. So I'm not really sure where he is. He hasn't been in contact. So I will ask some students to come out and just share something that they know about this, okay? So take a 10-minute break, and then you can come out and share with us something about what we've seen. Okay. And you can actually show me, you can use the PowerPoint, okay? You can use the computer to show me any images that you want to share, okay? That you think is interesting about your particular culture. I kind of noticed that your meal box, does your meal box hold all of the traditional foods? Your meal box. Yes, so your meal box is just really your traditional table taken to a very convenient form. Is that correct? Is your meal box just your traditional family meal, what your grandparents would have made, in a small box? So all the dishes will be on the table usually. Yes. Because I was thinking that your meals don't really change that much. You just make them more convenient. You repackage them and make them more convenient for your modern society. Because when I lived with a Taiwanese family in Tainan, we have many dishes, always bamboo, we have rice always, we always have fish in Tainan, fish, okay? Many fish farms in Tainan still, so we always have fish. And there's always many dishes, many bowls of food. So I kind of must think that that represents your meal box. So your meal in a box is just taken from your dinner table, the table what you used to share with your family, your older generation. But it's because you can eat on the go. You move around, you eat as you're moving around, that's more convenient. But it doesn't change. So that's your culture, that's tradition. Things don't change as much as you think they do. We keep hold of some of these elements. I want you to kind of pick out some of the things that are unique to you, and whether you can see differences between yourself and China. As Linda said, there's many similarities because you share a very common ancestry. But you are moving off, just like Christianity and Catholicism, you're moving in different ways. So you will definitely diverge. Diverge means to separate. Okay, you're coming from a common core, you're moving kind of like that. What is still holding you together? What is actually making you move apart? And you notice it. And you notice anything. Right, and we'll just leave it there for now. So remember, in your groups, you need to go into groups. You need to do this for maybe 30 minutes. Okay, I'll let you go early. But go in your groups and just talk about this. And I want you to come up in your groups and just share just a few sentences about some of the differences. Okay. Groups, can we get together? We need to do this. We need to kind of fulfill this obligation for today's class. There's no way around this. So you now need to kind of share something, okay, about this kind of understand. It's very simple. I know you can all talk about food. You're very good at talking about food, okay? Tell me how you present your food. What about when you go to your traditional markets? Do you think your traditional market sellers present their food well, or do they just think, there's my fish, you need fish, you buy the fish? Because that's the feeling I get when I go to your traditional markets. If you go to my market, they make an effort. They make an effort to get you to buy the fish. But here, it's just, there's my produce, you take my produce, you need it, and you buy it. There's no other effort to make it beautiful, or, you know, in Britain, even our low-class markets are they want to make it so you associate something with their shop, okay? So they try and get you in, they present the food really beautifully. Okay? They keep their stalls very beautiful. They're trying different ways for you to appreciate their product. And I noticed that about here. When you go to the traditional market, it's not the same. It's just, just there it is. Take it, away you go. And our sellers are very charming. How are you doing? They're trying to kind of create a kind of almost like advertising. They have the same product as you do, apples or pears or oranges or veg or even fish, but they make it much more foundational for you to integrate within that kind of selling experience. Okay. Where here I don't get that feeling, but that's just a foreigner. I'm a foreigner looking in with goggles. Okay, so I don't have that subtle understanding of your community or your culture. So you can tell me about your traditional markets, or not your night market, but your traditional markets. Okay? How they're slightly different from my market that I go to in the United Kingdom. Okay? And whether the produce is the same quality. Okay? There's the quality there as well. But I think it's more about selling, how you sell your product. So now, your groups, you need to do this, okay? It's a kind of culture talk. So all you need to do now is work within your groups for 20 minutes. And then for the next 15 minutes, we can come out and just 1 or 2 members from each group come out and just share something about differences between your cultures. So they're the closest cultures you have. Remember, Taiwan and Chinese are quite the same. Remember, I also have a culture in which one of my islands, one part of my island, pulled away from us. Okay? We have Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, who didn't want to be a part of the United Kingdom. And they had a war with us, and there was many deaths, and they pulled apart. They are now their sovereign nation. They are independent. Okay, so when we leave Europe, they're staying in Europe. They are a different country from us now. We have one part of Ireland that wants to remain part of the United Kingdom. That's why it's confusing. We have Northern Ireland who wants to be a part of England and Scotland and Wales. We have the Republic of Ireland who want to be independent and separate and create their own destiny around the world with other nations. Okay. So again, we have similarities between our Irelands. You know, we have had this kind of relationship between our communities, and we still have it now. We have a peace agreement with Ireland to not fight. So that happened in 1997. Very, very recent. So we have something called the 1997 Good Friday Agreement. So that meant a lot of people who killed our soldiers were given amnesty. What does amnesty mean? Amnesty. That offended a lot of people. So a lot of the Irish revolutionaries who were continuing the war because they want Northern Ireland back into a full united Ireland, they continued to kill certain people within our community because they said that we had stole that part of Ireland from them. They wanted a united Ireland. So in 1997, we did something quite amazing. We formed a peace agreement, and we're sticking to that. Nobody is now fighting each other. Remember, the Irish paramilitaries had guns. They had machine guns. They would hide them in Ireland, the Republic, and they would create little commando raids, and they would kill people for associating with the United Kingdom, and vice versa. We would try and capture those paramilitary groups. And there was a lot of them in prison. And in 1997, they would also target civilians. They would target this classroom. Because I'm English, they would target shopping malls. So they put a bomb in a bin, and they could kill civilians. So we have every country has this kind of relationship between their cultures. So you can share some with me today. But we are now under this agreement. Okay, so this agreement from 1997 is something quite positive. So we now are at peace. We are at peace with this group, and we now enter into politics with it. We work about diplomatic relations. So we move forward. We're trying to make progress and move forward. And this is very important for us. 1997 agreement means that we're no longer fighting internally. And we agreed to get on. And we agreed to trade and do different types of relations with one another. So it's very positive. So I want you to just share something with me, okay? But you don't remember, try not to be antagonistic. Try and think of the positive perspectives on how you are separating some of your differences and how you are working towards a kind of united approach together in terms of discussion and talk, okay? Which is always more positive than kind of think, all right, we want this back and you're not getting this, etc. So you have 20 minutes. Okay, so I will time this now, 20 minutes from now. So at 25 to 12, 11:35, maybe for the last 20 minutes, our groups can come up and just share something very simple about food and about the differences between the two cultures. So work in your groups, okay? And you only have to come on the stage for maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Not 1 or 2 minutes. Maybe a minute, you know, a minute and 10 seconds, a minute and 20 seconds. So I will leave it now down to you. It's okay, you need to work together, yes. Vincent, you need to find a group. The rest of my groups, you need to find a group. Talk about it, okay? 20 minutes. Linda, are you going to work on your own, or are you going to find a group? Ah, we have a group. Penny, who are you working with? Jenny. Jenny? Penny. Penny? Jenny. 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 Who are you working with? This is okay, you're talking about your culture now. Okay? Linda, who are you working with? You can work with Jenny. Okay. Zoe? Let's find, come on, we need to finish this class. This is not your proper class, and we're going to run behind because of this. But there's nothing we can do about it. Just find your groups. You're just going to share something. Tell me what you have for breakfast, lunch, main meal. Remember, food can show you the differences between your cultures. And you are very good at talking about food. Okay. Great. Yeah, are you going to have something to share? You must have something. What are the differences between your cultures? Are you aware of anything changing? What is your color? Red? Red is very important in China. Is it so important? You have red and blue. What does it symbolize? Good fortune. What about getting married here? Is it different from getting married in China? Do you have the same ceremony? The older age red. What about food then? What about food? Is there any difference there? Do you have anything special on special occasions? We have a Sunday dinner every Sunday. We always have 1 meat, 2 vegetables. Okay, that will always be on your dish. So what do you have? You have food, that will... What do you have for breakfast? How is it? Is it traditional? Do you have pasta or is that food? You can have pasta. You can have, what else do you have? What do you usually have for your lunch? Can you name the ingredients? What do you choose for now? Do you choose for price? Oh, this is $5 cheaper. Do you buy it for price? Meaning, alright, that's cheaper. Actually, that's expensive, so we buy that. Do you buy it, or do you still buy how your customs and your habits? You will eat rice, I will eat potatoes. So I'm used to eating potatoes. Whenever we have a meal, there's always potatoes. It might be potatoes or something in that meal. You can vary it, but that will be all. That will be one of our main dishes. What will be rice? Are you always still having rice? Yeah. So you can see some of your traditions. Your food still stays. It doesn't. Even though you're modernizing, you're changing, you will still keep that kind of element of your culture. It's different from mine. So it's different. It's not natural. I have potato, you have rice. So it's not natural. Not everyone's having rice. It might be because of the climate. We might not be able to grow rice. The climate might be different. So these kind of different factors shape your culture. Your eating system, your diet and habits, what you can eat, what you can't eat. Potatoes might be too heavy for you. There might be too much starch. might be too hot. When you need lots of salt. So it's cold. We need lots of salt in our meat. So British people put lots of salt on their chips. They eat chips. And because we're cooked cold, we need that salt. We need more salt in our diet. So too much salt is obviously bad. And what about the differences between Taiwan and China? Remember, I have so many differences from my culture to the other groups in my society, and that has led to people telling me, but what I'm saying is we have to work through those ideas, we need to move forward. But we all remain separate. We have different flags, we have different songs, we have different ways that we socialize. You know, we have different drinks, we have different music, we have different entertainment, we have different dress and colour style. All these things are just subtle differences that make your culture noticeable or another culture. Can you find out that? You have a group? Okay, so keep thinking. I just want you to share maybe just a few things. They don't have to be these don't have to be profound. Okay, they don't have to be profound. It's just culture. Culture is lowbrow, not highbrow. You don't have to talk about kings and queens and emperors. Okay, you can just talk about the different ways that you use public transport. Yes. Look at in Britain, our trains are always late, and everyone just stands and moans. In Japan, one train is late, somebody has to quit their job. If in Japan, if the train is 2 seconds late, it's a national. This train was 8 seconds late. Yeah, the culture is different. In Britain, we just moan about it. We just complain to each other. Nobody would quit their job. Our trains are always late. They would just, nobody would have a job. So we have a different culture in terms of our service provision. And so Japanese maybe provide services. It's very important for them to be serviceable. We don't have that. We're more individualistic. We just take care of ourselves, which people call us cool because we're isolated from one another. We don't believe in service as much as maybe the Japanese. So you can pick up things just from your communication methods, your transport methods, how you operate your transport systems. Is it as efficient as Taiwan, as Japan? Possibly not. It's still good here though. It's still very good. They're very rarely late here. But in Britain, you'll be waiting. Zoe, what's it like, the transport in Britain? It's okay, but it's not on time. Transport. On time? Yeah, you haven't been there long enough.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're waiting for trains, they're kind of not running perfectly.
A train late because of snow.
Yeah, we get things like the snow will make the train late, and we just get things like there's a dog on the line, on the track, and the train can be an hour late, and everyone's just standing there, and we just kind of accept it. So we just complain. And our train fares are very expensive. So again, that talks about how we our service economy is not brilliant. Okay? We expect people to accept some of those delays. Where I mentioned in Japan, it's more of a national understanding that the trains have to run on time. We would like that in our community, but we don't have it. I don't know what that says about our culture. Maybe again, it says that we're more individualistic. We don't have this idea of public service as much as some other communities. That could be down to the individualism of the West and the collectivism of Asia. Maybe we have more public service orientation in your mind. Do you think? I don't know. Theory. Is it theory? Vincent, what are you going to share? With your group? Are they your traditional foods, though? Are they part of your traditional diet, these foods that you have so many of? Or they are coming from different countries? Sandwich is British, isn't it? Is that because you have 7-Elevens everywhere? Make it more convenient. You also have many 7-Elevens. We're one of the most convenient countries in the world to live. Convenient. Yeah, everything is very convenient. In Britain, you will be frustrated. Okay, so you go to Britain, it's not as convenient as Taiwan. You will be frustrated once you live there long enough. There's so many things that you have to do just to get the simplest thing. not as easy in Britain to get around and to be independent. More effort just to get to your daily place of work. Here it's very simple. Very simple. You don't have all those kind of things that you have, especially 7-Eleven. You don't have so many conveniences that are giving you what you need. Everything that you can do. Send messages. You can accept packages from them. You can book tickets. You can book your cinema tickets. Very convenient here. The United Kingdom is not so. You spend a lot more time finding your tickets, booking your trains, picking your parcels up from the post office, which is much more annoying. You've got more provisions here. Anything else? Food. What do you have for breakfast usually? Burger. So this is kind of from America. How is it packed for you? How is it? Is it the bun and what's inside the burger? Is it beef burger? Meat, vegetable. What type of vegetable? Just nondescript vegetable. Yeah, okay. But what about those kind of and a salad? And what about those meals where you have rice and seaweed and chicken from 7-Eleven? You can put them in the microwave. What are they? Is that traditional? Rice again. You're still having rice. You're packaging it in another form. Rice is not traditional. How they package it is not traditional, but it's still the same food out. You think? So it's just giving you the traditional food in a different way. Maybe, yeah. Because it's part of your custom, your culture. Should you know something about yourself, what you're still eating. Gives you some idea of your unique identity, which is very hard to break away from. It's how you foster your understanding of food, eating, taste, your social habits. So what are you going to share? Something about food? Remember, you all have to share something, okay, about your either differences of what you have for breakfast, lunch, main meal, or a special occasion. Okay? Very simple questions today, not very hard at all. And again, remember, this is not your original class, so don't worry about it too much. It's just for you to now just share something about Taiwanese culture and some of the differences that you notice. Are you noticing anything different? Anything emerging in your culture that wasn't there before? This is a kind of way of looking to see if your culture is changing slightly. Is it being influenced by the internet? By seeing different understandings from the internet? Are you different from your parents, of course? The generation gap will always exist, won't it? From each new successive generation. Where are your ideas coming from? Are they still coming from your traditional culture? Or are you getting most of your resources from the internet? So the internet is giving you a lot more kind of, having much more impact on your understanding of cultures around the world. You're more open to different ideas. Or do you just use the internet as a tool? And you just use that as a tool to facilitate your own culture with. Okay, another 10 minutes, and then we need to share, okay? 10 minutes, and then we'll share for the last 15 or 20 minutes, okay? 10 more minutes, and then we'll share something about our differences and our similarities. Did everybody sign? Just make sure you sign this today, okay? The roll call, make sure you just sign. is the Taiwanese national anthem, Ray? What is the Taiwanese national anthem? Hachi, what is the Taiwanese national anthem? Someone going to play me something? National anthem. Your national anthem. Remember ours is God Save Our Gracious Queen. We have a national song, don't we? When we play football or rugby or a sport or cricket, not cricket, but we all sing the national anthem. We put our hands on our hearts. What's Taiwan? Do we have one? We call this the national anthem. An anthem just means everybody joins together to sing an anthem. So again, it's just everybody's culture is unique. Okay? Your understandings, your outlook are all kind of involved in your own socialization. Your group is specific. You socialize, you marry together, you share together, you worship, you create understandings. That fosters unique patterns, and then you re-socialize on those understandings. So you create your own system of values. What's right, what's wrong. Do you have the death penalty? Do you don't have the death penalty? So your understanding about your specific group, very unique. Okay, 5 more minutes because I'm sure you've got something to talk about. Okay, so this is just very relaxed. Don't worry about this too much. Okay, so just share what you want to share about your culture. You can use the internet if you want to show any images or, you know, try not to. Remember, we give everybody an opportunity to speak. We have maybe approximately 20 minutes remaining. Okay, so microphone and just share your observations. Okay, are we ready? 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. 20 minutes left. Okay, we'll try not overrun this class today. And we'll just start from Zoe's side of the room. Okay, Zoe's side of the room. And we'll just make our way across to the left-hand side. Okay. Remember, don't worry, you can actually bring up your mobile phones. You're not doing a presentation today. Okay, you're just sharing something about your culture, some of the characteristics that are noticeable, some of the things that you can see changing, and maybe some of the differences between yours and the Chinese culture. Or even maybe mention something about the other two prominent cultures, nations in this area, such as South Korea and Japan. I'm not forgetting those from Southeast Asia. Maybe just focus on the North Hemisphere before you look at Vietnam and Cambodia, places which are starting to have more connections with Taiwan. Zoe? Your group? Who is your group? Your group should come up. Hachi, up you come. Okay, we only have 20 minutes, so don't worry about this. You don't have to be up here for a long time. You're just sharing with us. And if you need the internet, you can. So just introduce yourself, as always. Zoe, just introduce yourself, and Hachi, you can just share.
My name is Zoe, and this is my teammate Hachi, and we are going to introduce the different fruit from Taiwan.
Okay.
And as you know, Taiwan's special food like steamed tofu or some it's like pork blood. You got some blood from the pig.
Yes, blood cake.
Yes,
Kind of
blood
like
cake.
yeah, we get it in our hot pots.
Yes.
Yes. And we have something very similar called black pudding, pig's blood.
Oh.
And we have it for our breakfast. So some regions, we have an English breakfast, which is bacon and eggs. And sometimes we have black pudding, so it's pig's blood, mixed with certain other things. We have something very similar, but not in our hot pot.
Different.
Slightly different, yes. You have
Yes.
chicken blood. Chicken.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's similar from
Yes.
that.
And is this a traditional food?
It's traditional food. I don't like it.
Has it been ate for a long time?
It's
Taiwan?
already been ate for a long time, and a lot of people like it.
Mm.
It smell and
But you find that your tastes are changing.
changing.
Your tastes. You don't like it, you say?
I don't like it, but I think it's different from others.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's specific to Taiwan. It's kind of.
Most of the kids don't like it, but the adults will be like it more.
Yes, the adults like it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And then.
And
Hachi, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to introduce my country's difference. I think we have a lot of place can buy drinks and food, like some milk tea or some tea can buy on the street.
Tea shops.
Tea shop.
Yeah.
A lot of tea shop in Taiwan.
Yes.
It's, we can see it that in other countries.
Don't have.
It's Taiwan's unique culture.
Yeah, yeah, very unique. The tea shops, which are very convenient.
And our breakfast, we have a lot of breakfast store.
Yes.
And we can eat many kinds of breakfast in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have Chinese breakfast and we have West breakfast too.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you can see that the impact of globalization, all this interaction between the different groups is maybe changing your diet habits? Yeah, so you can see some change? Because you said you can get food from all around the world.
Yeah.
Does Taiwan make them kind of more Taiwanese? When you get a kind of when you get a product from America, you make it more Taiwanese though?
Yes.
You add different, yes. So you still keep your cultural influence on the way the meals are being repackaged. Yes. Anything else, Hachi?
I think that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Zoe, do you want to anything else? It's all right. You don't have to
I
be.
think like Taiwanese create some a hamburger is not with bread, it's with the rice.
Yes.
The
a wrap.
rice burger, and
Yes.
that's pretty cool. I eat before. It's great than the bread, I think.
Yeah, I noticed that. So you have like this rice burger, you wrap
Yeah,
it.
you can feel more
Filling.
easy to feel it. Yes.
Yes, because you're traditionally rice eaters. You like rice, so
Yes.
this is why it appeals to your taste buds,
Yes.
to your habits. Okay, yeah, that's a good observation. I've noticed that. Hachi, Zoe, thank you very much. Very simple. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. You're just sharing. Thank you very much. Some nice observations. Okay, our next group. Who wants to come next from this side? Remember, we only have a few minutes. Okay, we only have 20 minutes to do this. So remember, Zoe and Hachi, just natural. Are you ready, boys? Would you like to come up? Not yet? Yeah? Okay. You'd like to, yes? Remember, you're just sharing something about your culture. Okay? Something that interests you. I think it's very interesting that Zoe said about how they've repackaged the burger with the rice. I get that from 7-Eleven sometimes. It's very filling. And you have the chicken inside and the sauce. So that's more specific to your taste, your habits. So it shows how your culture is strong. Okay? So you changed the burger. You've repurposed it into a rice burger. Yeah. Talk with me. I can come on the stage with you. Okay, don't be too shy. I'll stand on the stage. And remember, you're talking about your culture, so. No, you want to try? Don't be frightened of the microphone, okay? Who's seen The King's Speech? Have you seen The King's Speech? The movie? About the King of England when he has a stammer? Try for today. I'll stand next to you. Come on, just try for today. This will be a good challenge for you today. And share with me. You can look at me the first time and tell me what your observations are. Okay, so you can, so everyone can hear. How do you say that? Vegetarian. Vegetarian. Somebody who doesn't eat meat. Is that what you mean? Oh, religion. Yeah, okay. Sorry, religion. Okay. Yes, religion. That's right. So you're going to talk about religion. Okay, I'm all ears. This is very interesting. Okay. So talk so we can hear. Okay, we're talking about religion.
Most people
In Taiwan. Faith. Okay. Faith. Yeah, it's a very difficult word to say. So most people in Taiwan, if they're going to follow a religious faith, that's to believe in something. Okay, you don't have proof, but you believe in it. You feel that belief.
Buddhist
Buddhism
and
and Taoism. Okay, so the dominant religions in Taiwan are Buddhism and Taoism.
most is this.
Most is Taoism.
Yes.
So can you tell me what kind of ceremonies you perform? How do you worship? How do they worship? Remember, British people go to a church and they listen to songs. And we sit and we look and we listen to songs, and then the vicar will tell us something about life and reality and tell us how to give money to the poor and to protect innocent people. So how do you worship when you go and worship Taoism? How many gods? 1, 5, 200?
Too many.
Too many. A lot. Okay.
And another is language. We have 3 types of local language.
You have 3 types of local language in Taiwan. What are they called?
2 of this is
Dialect.
yes.
So it's a form of Taiwanese, but it is kind of specific to that area or that group. Yeah, so we have dialect, remember? So Scottish dialect, you have 2 types of dialect. You have actually another language as well.
Huh?
Do you have another language, or is it just versions? Okay, versions of Taiwanese. So they're just versions. They're not a new language. Okay.
2. And one is another is Chinese. 1 is Hakka and Minnan.
The dialect is Hakka and Minnan. Hakka and Minnan, and the.
Another is Chinese.
Okay, is that a dialect? Is it a different language? Yeah, okay, so you have Chinese, you have Taiwanese, you have Hakka and Minnan. So Hakka and Minnan is a version of Taiwanese. kind of very similar, but they change it. But
Both,
Chinese is completely different.
both originate in China.
Which both of Hakka and Miyan, they both originate in China.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting.
And the festival, Qingming Festival, sweeping the grave and missing ancestor.
Yeah, tomb sweeping day. When you sweep the tomb. Yeah, and do you still get buried in tombs?
What is?
A tomb is a kind of what you see on the hillside, the tomb. A tomb. It's kind of where you put your dead in a tomb. It's kind of like you have a door in the tomb, is that correct? That's very unusual. We have graves. Do you have graves also? Do you have graves? You have graves, you put people in the ground. So less people are going in tombs now, do you think? Less people go in tombs. Less and less. Does anybody know? Are you starting to bury people now? How do you bury people in Taiwan? Do you burn them? Do you bury them in coffins? Can anybody tell me?
Burn and
Bury.
soup.
What do we do? Bury and... So this is specific to your culture. You will bury your dead. You will have different ceremonies. Okay. And anything else?
And food, we usually eat rice.
You usually eat rice, yes.
One time a day.
One time, so every day you will have some form of rice meal.
Yes.
Okay, so that explains why we have rice burgers. You know, we change the burger into a rice burger because Taiwanese want rice at least once a day. Yeah, very traditional.
The buffet with home cooking.
And sorry?
The buffet with home cooking.
So when you're buffet, it's home cooking.
Yes.
So when you choose, it's all what you would get from your home. So you keep that tradition, but it's just outside of the house.
Like the meal box.
Yeah, like the meal box. It's just the home cooking in the meal box.
Yes.
Yeah. So even though the meal box looks new, it's just all the traditional foods inside the meal box. Yeah, okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. You did excellently today. You've got a very nice accent, so don't worry, that's fine. Who would like to come and share next? Come on, this is about Taiwan. Okay. You always got something nice to say. Come on, we're running out of time. You're sharing something about Taiwan and your culture and your customs. This was great from that group. They give me many different religion, which is Taoism, languages, Minyan and Hakka, which come from mainland China, and Taiwanese. Food, you always want rice at least once a day. Linda, are you coming? Anybody else coming up after Linda? We have 9 minutes left, so just come as soon as you're ready after Linda.
We have some differences in drink.
We have some differences in drink,
Yes.
beverages, okay.
We often drink fruit juice and green tea. Yes.
Is this Chinese people or Taiwanese people?
Chinese people.
Okay.
And Taiwan often drink bubble tea with milk.
So you drink tea with fruit juice,
Yeah.
and Taiwanese people drink tea with milk,
Yeah.
just like the British.
Oh.
Yeah, the British drink tea with milk. We like tea with, not tea with fruit juice. We will not have tea with fruit juice. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And in dessert, our Chinese like green bean cake. Do you know?
Green bean cake. I've heard of it. I've never tasted it. Is it very delicious?
Yes.
Okay. And when you have that, when you have this dessert, can you have it any time of the day or usually at night time?
Usually in winter season.
Usually in the winter. Is it
yeah.
hot or cold? Hot, cold.
Both okay.
You can heat it up or you can have it cold. Okay. Which do you prefer?
Hot.
Hot. You like it hot. Do you have it with anything? Do you pour something on it or do you just have it?
Often with milk and.
You pour milk on it or you drink the milk and eat?
Drink milk and eat.
So you drink the milk and have a bite?
Yes.
Okay, sounds very wonderful. You eat with your hands? Usually with your hands? You eat, yeah, okay, just like a cake, yes.
And Taiwan like eating cake with cheese.
Taiwan like eating cake with cheese?
Yes,
Okay.
like English.
Yeah, we like cake and cheese, yes, we do, in a way. Cheesecake.
Cheesecake.
Oh yeah, we do like cheese and kind of savory snacks. We do like to put cheese in it. But it's very expensive in Taiwan, cheese, because you don't have the climate. So it's very hard for you to keep, I'd imagine, fresh. for too long. It goes moldy very quickly if you don't eat it. Maybe it's more expensive here than it is in the UK. The UK is a bit
After
cheaper.
lunch, you eat it.
I like cheese and cake sometimes, yes. Sometimes, not too often. Not too often. I get more choice of cheese in the UK. Not so many choices here.
And in meal, at breakfast and dinner, we often drink porridge.
So like the Scottish people.
Yes.
Scottish people like porridge.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
It's one of their traditional dishes as well. Porridge, oats. So porridge is usually made from oats.
In porridge, what
Oats.
vegetables do you add?
Many
What do you add in porridge?
tough Scottish. We have it with milk. Sometimes they put salt in. Depends how they like it. I'm not sure. That would be specific to the individual. Some individuals put all different types of things in porridge. But generally we will just have oats, maybe on its own. Some people like sugar, very simple, just sweeten it slightly. But some people have it with milk and some people have it with water. But they don't do very interesting things with porridge. Not really. It's just a meal that fills you up.
We often add vegetables in the porridge.
No, we wouldn't add vegetables.
Yes.
It's more like a kind of breakfast meal. For breakfast. Okay? So we have porridge oats usually for breakfast instead of cereal. It's more nutritious and it fills you up.
I think it's yummy.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, porridge is nice, especially in the winter.
And Taiwan people often drink coffee or corn soup.
Yeah, they like corn soup. And Chinese people, not so much.
We just eat corn.
Oh, you just eat corn. But yeah, I know somebody who likes corn soup a lot. Yeah,
We often boil the corn and eat.
So you like sweet corn?
Yeah.
Very tasty. Which is the famous region in China for sweet corn? Do you have a famous region?
Famous region in the north of China.
In the north.
Yes. Do you know the Heilongjiang province?
I wish I did, but no. I had some beautiful sweet corn from Tainan last week, and they were so beautiful. Really sweet. They were really fresh. And the corn was
In
just...
England, do you plant some corn?
We don't have the climate. So we have to get it from around the world, and it's awful. No taste. So we buy it from the supermarket, and not really much taste. So the sweet corn from Taiwan is beautiful. Okay, what I know.
And some fruit differences. Our Chinese people often eat apples, pear, and strawberry.
Apples, pears, and strawberries.
Yes. Taiwan people often eat passion fruit, watermelons, and mango.
So differences again. Okay,
Yes,
so
because of the climate differences.
So climate differences make you eat different types of fruit. Okay, very interesting.
I think apple in there are very expensive, but in our region,
Very-
apple cheap.
Very cheap.
Yeah, very
So
cheap.
you don't like buying apples from here because they're too expensive. Yeah, okay.
That's all.
Okay, Linda, thank you very much. Always very, I'm always glad that you come up. You all share a lot, okay? We have 4 minutes, 3 minutes. Who's going to come up? Vincent, are you looking to come up and share? No? Our girls at the front, you're looking at, you're coming up. Remember, you're sharing something about Taiwan, your culture, okay? I think you give some very wonderful kind of comments and observations. Are you coming up? Remember, it doesn't have to be profound, you're just sharing it. It's very interesting for me as a foreigner to listen also to your culture. We only have, maybe this is our last group, it's going to be 12 o'clock. Okay, it's going to be wonderful to hear what you say. Don't worry, you're just sharing with us.
We rather phones are different. The Taiwanese is traditional, and the China is simplified.
For the language. So you have
Yeah.
a different kind of way that you use the language.
The accent.
Accent. Okay.
Accent. They speak with more long tongue.
So their tongue rolls more. So do they pronounce the words more clearly? Or maybe not more clearly, but it's more. Can you hear that difference?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like that sound, or what is your preference? Does it sound unusual for you? Okay. Okay.
Let's the same thing. We have different statements.
Different statements. What is?
For instance, the bus will say 公车. They'll say 公交车.
Okay. So what does that mean? What is the difference there? What is?
It's the bus.
Okay, but they have an extra word to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so you notice that. It's very very observant.
And our convenience store, drink shop are everywhere.
Your tea shops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your convenience 7-Eleven, Family Mart. Or do you mean the tea shop?